Why top Fiverr sellers are quitting the Fiverr platform, and I see this sort of a trend has been happening lately and also previously, and I wanted to talk about that because I think this is very important to discuss, because Fiverr has definitely changed over the last few years. As if you are a seller who has been on Fiverr for a long time, I've been a seller since 2015. Of course, the platform changed completely, I would say, in some ways, right? The way it ranks, the success score, and etc. And lately, you've seen a lot of different messages, Reddit posts where people are just, sellers are just tired of all of these changes and they decided to quit the platform. I wanted to talk from my perspective, what do I see for myself, Fiverr, in the coming months, in the coming years, and what do I think about this decision of other top sellers, because there are an amazing top sellers who just decided to leave the platform, and with all of these changes, with all of these things that is going on. So I wanted to kind of like go back first, because when I started on Fiverr in 2015, those were the years where there are a lot of SEO services. There was a lot of people who are doing SEO stuff, and I was looking at those sellers like Aussie UK. He was one of the biggest seller at that time, I remember, and they were just doing like a huge volume of orders. And then of course you have the logo design people as well, who are just doing also a big volume, and that's what has been kind of like popular. Of course, we're talking about the writing services as well, copywriting services, which has been also very big, and also the voiceover was also big. So if we look at since those years and going in a few years, the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest decision why sellers are quitting is because of the multiple reasons. The first reason, of course, we always have this sort of pressure by Fiverr, right? We have to deliver the orders on time. We have to reply as fast as we can. We always have these sort of things where if we miss delivery date, we might get punished. The gig is gonna go lower in the ranking, right? So this is always the fear that keeps us stressed, keeps us pressured. But on the other side, this system keeps us accountable, right? It keeps us maybe some sort of a discipline, because let's say if we will not have a delivery timer, we could probably maybe do it later. We'll not need to deliver it at that moment, right? We could maybe send it later to the client. It's not a big deal. Nothing's gonna happen. So, but this is definitely a pressure. And over the last years, Fiverr, as you remember, first of all, in order to reach a top-rated seller, Fiverr will evaluate your performance, evaluate your everything, right? The earnings, your satisfaction as well, and they will give you a top-rated seller. So you'll get a top-rated seller, which means like a huge deal. You become a top on the platform, you get fastest replies, you can have up to 30 gigs as well created, you can have all of sorts of things, fast clearance as well of your money. So this is always, for every seller on Fiverr, this is always the goal: become a top-rated seller. Now, before, when you reach a top-rated seller, the status, it was pretty much impossible to lose it. You'll have to do something crazy to lose it. But once you get top-rated seller status, you'll probably not lose it if you just keep with the same amount of effort and the same amount of discipline. But what Fiverr decided to do is that Fiverr decided to okay, we see that there are a lot of top-rated sellers, but they're not actually top-rated sellers maybe at the present. They were before, but now we see that the activity is not the same. So they are deciding to change these criteria. So they are deciding to make this whole evaluation system where they look at the last 60 days and they see how you've been performing, and then you have to maintain your level, right? So that was the first change, which of course a lot of top-rated sellers were not happy, because it kept them, because once you reach top-rated seller, you're like, okay, I'm top-rated seller, I can just, I'm there, as long as I do good work, I will be fine. And once they implemented those changes, of course, we always have a pressure, because in my case, I would say my case is a bit different. I'm in one type of basket. There are sellers like me because we have a large number of orders. In my case, I do have around 300 orders that I complete every single month. So the big amount of orders helps me kind of like recover. So let's say if I get a bad review, I would still get a good ones because I'm getting a large volume of orders on a monthly basis. But then on the other basket, there are sellers who are doing a lot less volume. So they're maybe doing like 10 orders per month, but they can be a big orders. They can be $1,000 orders, they can be $2,000 orders, so it can bring them to 10 to 20k per month. But what happens if like two of those, let's say, a negative reviews? And not everyone leaves a review, right? So 2 of those are negative, and that could actually affect the rating. So they become under stress, under pressure. So that was one change. And of course, if you go on the forum as well, on the Fiverr Forum, there are a lot of talks about this. There are a lot of discussions. There are a lot of sellers who've been very successful in 2014, 13, who are not very successful now, and they are saying about these changes. And I do agree, like, of course, back then it was maybe easier, but also when I look at those sellers from the very beginning, I do see that they haven't really transformed their gigs to the current situation of Fiverr, because you know, we can start with the basic things. We have the intro video, we have the gig video, right? Before, they used to have a picture, and the picture will give them the orders, will give them everything. Right now, as you know, we live in the world where everything needs to be a personalized, personal brand. Everything comes from you as a person. People buy from people. So it's very important to actually show yourself and to speak up. So that's kind of what changed on Fiverr right now. Right now, I'm seeing a lot more gig pictures with actual person and the name of the service. I'm seeing a lot more videos of people who never had videos before. So this is also the evolution of the platform. Like, it's changing. So people who have not adapted those things, they're suffering, and they're going to be suffering more. So that's one of the things. The other thing, what really happened as well, talking about the changes that Fiverr made, is of course in their success score system, right? So I think people were, I'm not sure why Fiverr did it, but my opinion, I think because a lot of people are asking sellers like, okay, how does it measure, like how do I get ranked higher, why did I get demoted, why did I get promoted, right? So there are probably a lot of questions that are coming there in the support every single day, every single maybe hour that people, the sellers are asking that. And of course Fiverr will be like, okay, let's create a system that actually will show sellers why they're ranked lower, why they get demoted, why they get promoted, you know? So they implemented this success score. For me personally, I don't know if I like it. I'm not a big fan of like this system, but I understand that maybe this system works. For example, for me personally, it has not been affected. My success score is currently 10, but I do think it's because I'm a top-rated seller, I'm a pro seller, and I have a large volume of orders. So it may be more stable, the success score, but I'm not sure. But that's my theory, because when I see other sellers who have a lot of less volume of orders, their success score can go up and down. But I think from what I've seen, the top sellers, it's somewhat more consistent. Somewhat you will definitely be like at the higher number of success score. So it's always very stressful, and it takes a lot of time to climb yourself up to that level. But I think for any of you who are still on Fiverr, who are still believing in Fiverr, your goal should definitely be like, I'm just gonna go and my goal is to become a top-rated seller. I think you should definitely keep that goal in mind, because it can pay off. It can pay off big time. But because of those success score implementation and all the things, people just became even more stressed, because the success score, they see it's 9 and then it goes to 8, and they are in danger as well of losing the level. So it creates a lot of stress. And to be honest, I would say freelancing is definitely not for something that you expect consistent thing all the time. Because for me personally, you guys maybe remember 2019, I was doing 55, 60k, 64k per month on Fiverr, and then suddenly it went down to 0. Not because of Fiverr, because of the services that I was providing, because of the industry, because of the Instagram, the social media, things have changed, and that really destroyed me mentally. I stopped showing up on social media. I stopped sharing anything. Like, that was a huge, just someone hit me, on the back with a hammer, because yeah, it really hurted my like internal like mental health and everything related to that. It was very, very stressful, and still now at this point I'm also feeling some of those after effects. You know, I'm always feeling like, what if tomorrow everything goes to zero, right? So of course, you know, this whole entrepreneurship, the freelancing space, it's very stressful. It's not for everyone, but this is definitely an exciting journey, because, you know, when you work at your corporate job, like, you can always expect, for example, similar pay. You know, you can expect similar days, you know, like you come to an office and stuff like that. But when you're freelancing, anything can change. You can suddenly be making, you know, 5K, and then you can be making 10K per month, right? So it can go up and down, but you're the one who is leading that route. So that's why it's also can be incredibly rewarding. And that's why I feel when you are on a Fiverr platform, for example, you know, you're focusing on the good work, you're focusing on the services that have a demand, and you can be performing well. But yes, so Success Core definitely brought a lot of people out of the platform, a lot of negative talks as well about Fiverr. So that was one of the things. And then, of course, you remember the whole ChatGPT space, which really, in my opinion, just vanished the copywriting niche. Writing niche. And as you remember, one of the bigger Fiverr sellers, Alexandra Fosulu, she's been very big on YouTube as well. She's been a Fiverr seller for a long time. She's been talking a lot about freelancing. She has a huge group on Facebook as well. And she quit Fiverr about a year and a half ago because, you know, essentially, you know, I don't want to speak about like for herself because she has a video about it, but of course there were multiple effects. It's because of this AI revolution, and also the Fiverr changes, the Fiverr platform changes. And yes, it's probably she saw some other motivations she saw, and she's doing things completely different, and she's extremely successful in the other things that she's doing. But you know, she was the one who started to speak about this more publicly. And then also when I went to the forum, the Fiverr Forum, there were a few people who also raised these concerns that they will be quitting Fiverr. And those people were very also big sellers on Fiverr. And you know, Fiverr was also, if you like go on the forum, if it's still there, you see that they also try to reach out to that person. They try to ask for opinion, what they can do better, why they're making this decision. But you know, eventually people got tired of the platform, so they left. And the whole AI space also really shaking the industries, multiple industries. So that was another effect. And you know, when we go into the 2025, you know, especially, you know, end of 2024, 2025, and Fiverr is introducing the AI features such as the AI assistant, and also they have the other AI that is creation model, right? And that, I think, made, you know, just like put the end to some of the sellers who were still on the fence if they still should pursue Fiverr or not. I remember one of the bigger sellers as well, Carrie the blogger. She's been also on YouTube. She's been talking about that, and she's been also on Fiverr, big seller. She's been also doing copywriting industry, and of course the whole AI industry, you know, maybe affected her work volume. But then when the AI came, you know, I think, me personally, she really felt a lot of pressure and a lot of things. But again, this is just my personal opinion from what I've seen. But that's definitely, especially with the AI assistant, the way Fiverr implemented it, you know, it's a lot of people are not happy about it. Me personally, I'm not using it because I have been actually working on the project for more than a year on having something useful for the Fiverr sellers that I can provide the value to you guys. And if you're interested, I actually built an alternative to the AI assistant, but the one that actually gives you more help and you have the control. So you can check out the link on that in the description. We also just publicly launched finally, so you feel free to try the 2 weeks free trial as well. If you've been on the waiting list before, you actually get some additional time to use the platform. But feel free to try it out. Give me your feedback. I'll be curious to hear. And of course, we also build a CRM system for Fiverr sellers that I feel, me personally, is something that must be there, because on Fiverr you get messages every day, you get orders, but it all can be missed very easily, especially when someone messages you like, hey, I want to order your service, and then this person didn't order, disappear, or doesn't reply, and then you just lose track in the inbox. So you want to be able to track those leads, and you can come back to those leads. It works extremely well. So we have this whole AI space of Fiverr that decided to go, and that's just shaking the industry. I think that put a lot of big pressure. But so let's talk on the other side. For me personally, why I'm choosing to still go on Fiverr in 2025. I think 2026, we'll see, but my plan is to keep pushing, because first of all, it's everyone's decision to be on a platform or not to be on a platform, right? If you are on a platform, you have to accept, unfortunately, those types of rules, right? So you can go on your own website, you can build your own rules, you can get clients, you can do all of that. So, but if you're on Fiverr, you have to understand that everything they make, they have some vision, they have some purpose, and we just have to accept. Of course, if we collectively give them the feedback, maybe they're going to be adapting to some changes. That's how usually it happens. Sometimes they will implement something, and then a lot of sellers will actually say, no, this is not good, you should guys do this, and they will reverse their change. So that was happening, and that is happening still. So of course, Fiverr, they still rely on us, right? The freelancers. And before they relied only on buyers, because the buyers who makes the purchases, right? Now they're relying on us because we are also paying for the Fiverr services like Seller Plus, for the assistant as well, for the other things, for the Fiverr Teams account feature. So they are making also money from us. So they want us to be happy, with those things. Of course, in my opinion, that also makes a lot of sellers kind of forced to maybe pay for Seller Plus. I mean, me personally, I think it is giving me some great additional stuff. But of course, I would love for them to be able to maybe, provide more useful stuff in their Seller Plus subscription, because it's going up, it's becoming more expensive. But I think some features are definitely can be maybe improved or implemented there. But a lot of sellers, I feel they feel kind of like, if I cancel my Seller Plus, my whole business is gonna go down, And for me, maybe I have some thoughts. I don't want to cancel, because there are some good features in there, so I don't want to cancel because I still want to use them. But some sellers, I feel like they're forced to pay for the Seller Plus. And my suggestion for you is that I started to treat Fiverr as, of course, I do have big respect for everyone who works at Fiverr, there. But for me is I realized that doesn't matter on which platform you're in, you have to understand that building that personal brand is the most important thing. Because when you have some sort of authority or credibility online, people will come to you no matter where you are. On Fiverr, on LinkedIn, or Upwork, freelancer.com, Contra, right? They don't care. They're gonna go and order from you. The same, it works for me all the time. Someone is gonna message me on Instagram and say, hey, Vasily, I wanna work with you. How can we get started, right? So they don't really think about, I'm not comfortable paying here, I'm not comfortable paying there. They just want to get started. They're ready to pay. Just tell them where. And I send them to Fiverr because that's how I keep my infrastructure. I keep everything on Fiverr because it's easier for operations, it's easier for communications, because I have someone who is handling the communication as well, who is handling order management, processing, right? So I have a team that helps me run my Fiverr business. So that's how it's built. Of course, I can do this directly, but that's the whole point of this channel as well, to show you that it's possible. You can still build something healthy being on the freelancing platforms like Fiverr, right? So I bring them to the Fiverr, and then they place an order, they have a good experience, and we try our best to improve that. But I want to suggest you the other thing. When you are on the Fiverr, doesn't matter which platform, you have to stay present. You have to stay competitive, because if you see there are some top sellers who are leaving the platform, yes, it sucks, it's not good. It's definitely, sad, because we are all kind of like in the same boat. We all want to grow, we all want to get better. So it's very sad. But on the other side is that when they're leaving, of course, the others will have more opportunities, right? And if you are still on the fence, like, should I go on Fiverr, should I not go on Fiverr? I will definitely suggest you should give yourself time, you should try it out, but you have to look and do a research. A lot of times people go on the Fiverr platform, they're not seeing any orders, they're not seeing anything. It's the same thing, like going on Fiverr is the same as like starting a YouTube channel and then, building an audience and then like selling, let's say, a course. Everyone can enter, everyone can participate, everyone can compete with each other. But the ones who is going to win, who's going to dominate the platform, is the ones who will actually deliver a very good work, because there are also a lot of sellers who are just doing not good work. Like they maybe are getting confused, like why they're not getting orders, why it's not good, but it's because of their work. The work is not good, and it's best to go and actually build skills, improve your skills. So that's something that, because it's so easy to register. Imagine how many people are registering on Fiverr, and that's what usually happening. Like someone, for example, from a foreign country, this has been happening, right? There are those kind of influencers who are maybe tried Fiverr, made some money, then they started to build the whole education space about how to become social media manager and go on Fiverr, and they start to like talk to their people in their country, and they start to attract all these people to the Fiverr platform. Of course, that's happening. That's happened if you look in the social media marketing space. For example, there are a lot of sellers from Albania, and because there is a big marketing academy in Albania where they're teaching actually how to succeed as a social media manager, become a social media manager, and then go on Fiverr. So that's why you can see a lot of and I see them as well, and some sellers are incredible. You see their quality of work, you see everything, and they're doing well. They're making a lot of money for that, and that's just incredible. The same happens, for example, in India, there is someone who is making money, and he's talking about it on YouTube, he's teaching others. So there's other people in India, they're like, okay, we need to go on Fiverr. So there is just massive amount of people are coming on the platform on a daily basis, but the ones who succeed will succeed because of their exceptional work, because of their communication, because they think outside of the box, because they position themselves as a person and not just as a logo or just as a brand. They are actually people, because the people, buyers, they want to work with people. They want to work with actual person, because they're tired of getting scammed, they're tired of getting delays, of getting that. So that's why they go on Fiverr, because they feel like, okay, somewhat I'm not gonna get like scammed. I'm still gonna get the job properly done if I order someone from who is like a top seller, top rated seller. So that's why this whole talk about Fiverr, it's sad that people are leaving, top sellers are leaving, but that's the reality of every single platform. And for me personally, like looking at the last few years, I had my ups and I had my downs. Like I quit Fiverr in 2020, I was not on the platform, and then I came back in 2021 because I saw one of my competitors are actually killing it, and I was like, what? Like I want to be there. I mean, I can be there as well. It's so that's how I came back, and I'm still happy with that decision. Of course, when I started from the break, it was like it was maybe a few K per month. Now I'm doing 40K, right? So it's you should think about that. You will not, like, if you're like improving every month, it's not like you're going to be making like 50K, 60K, 80K, 100K, 200K, right? That's not going to be probably true. You will definitely reach, for example, if you're building your systems, if you're building the team, if you are offering multiple services, because if you depend on one service, it's very hard to scale. So you have to, like, for example, in my case, I have one service which brings maybe, let's say, 20K, 25K per month, and I have another service which brings like 15K per month, right? And that gives me like, let's say, 40K. So you have to like differentiate. And I know, for example, if I launch another service, that could possibly give me another extra 5 to 10K, and that can put me to the 50K again, right? So you have to look at all of this, what is hot, what is popular, because right now you see a lot of AI services. Back in 2020, 2021, right, when the NFT was popular, remember, there were sellers who were making like so much money, like 50K, 100K per month, because they're offering NFT creation model, right? And I've seen a lot of sellers, like, you know, from Sri Lanka, from like Germany, Europe, you know, they were just making so much money. But now this thing is gone, right? And the people who were not able to adapt to the other industries, unfortunately, they're not going to be succeeding anymore. So that's why it's extremely important to look at what is popular, what services are popular. Thankfully, the social media is popular still. Back in 2015, right now 2025, it's popular. Instagram services are popular as well, but it's becoming harder to do them, of course, because the platform is changing. There are, like, you know, AI competition, so it's more challenging at the same time. So guys, I hope this video gave you some sort of like maybe thoughts about Fiverr. People are quitting. You know, there are a lot of things online and a lot of opinions. I suggest you just to look at the actual facts and look what is working for you, what makes you happy. If you do enjoy Fiverr, like in a way of like you get an order, you complete it, you got feedback, and if you enjoy this whole game, then it does make sense for you to continue that. If you're really tired of it, if you're really like forcing yourself and just completely exhausted about that, but you're still like a top seller, maybe send me a message and I can maybe help you in some other ways, because I feel you can definitely automate your Fiverr in a way that you can build a healthy team, you can automate your processes, you know, because it's very sad, in my opinion, when you build an account like this where you become a top seller, a lot of orders, buyers, and you just decide to leave, you know, and that's it. Because even though if you don't want to do it yourself, you can still, you know, build a good systems and good processes. And you know, it's better for this account to give you like a few $1,000s per month than nothing, right? So that's why I feel, you know, it's not maybe the best move to just like quit and leave it. But of course, if you want to do other things, that's totally fine. But of course, I still think you can be benefiting from your Fiverr profile. So guys, again, thank you so much. If you want to check out, and if you are a Fiverr seller, you can click the link in the description and check out the platform, the SaaS that I've been working. Again, you know, it can definitely help you with the replies, with the messages you come up with to the clients. Again, we are not asking for any access to your Fiverr. It's completely safe to use it. It's the same as you'll actually use the ChatGPT, but this is like more integrated, so it's definitely a lot more helpful at the same time with the CRM system too. So I will be curious to hear your feedback on that. And if you have any other questions, you can always send me a message on Instagram. Feel free to send you know, your questions or post them in the comments. I'll do my best to help you. And of course, thanks again for all of your support, for your likes. You know, if you're not subscribed to this channel, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.